November 2020.
Yeah, sorry, I've just hit record. Forgot to do that as we started. Yes, Sue has done another session for AAT members, which was really valuable. So if you're interested in checking that out, go backwards in our Tech Talks. But today, Sue's going to talk to us a little bit about online and social media strategy. Over to you, Sue.
Excellent. Thank you, Jo. Thank you for inviting me back. And it was really interesting running the last Tech Talk because I got a lot of inquiries from people afterwards. Oh, can you send me the notes and bits and pieces of information? So I hope that this presentation is just as engaging. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we all meet. And I'd also like to say that I will be sending a copy of this document to Jo to send out to everyone who has registered, and so that you can go through it. And the reason I do this as a Word document rather than a PowerPoint presentation is, have you ever tried to print a PowerPoint presentation? It's a dog of a thing with those tiny little boxes on a page which you can't read. So I prefer the old-fashioned Word document with lots of links that you can click on and so on. Right. So obviously this particular course, it's taken me about 3 hours to prepare this content. I've pinched it from about 3 other workshops that I run, and it is actually part of a 6-hour long course. So we are not going to go through every single thing that is in this document. I am going to focus on the most important components, and it will be up to you as to how proactive you are as to what you decide to do afterwards. And I really, really welcome questions at any stage. I'll keep an eye on the chat, and yeah, that's all possible. Yeah. So
sorry, I'll just interrupt you there. I forgot to say you are welcome to put questions in the chat box. We'll keep an eye on it, and there'll also be time at the end, of course, and it is being recorded as usual, so it will go up on the website. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Jo. So there's quite a lot to get through. And as I said, I'm only touching on things because we've only got an hour, but I'd like to focus on the things that are most relevant for bookkeepers and accounting technicians. So first of all, would you like to connect with me on LinkedIn? I have over 20,000 connections on LinkedIn, but the maximum number I can have is 30,000. If you click on your mobile phone, the LinkedIn app, and you press in the search box twice, there's first of all just in the blank search box, and then there's some dots on the right hand side, your own QR code will come up. So now when you're out and about with your clients, or even on a Zoom call, you can pop your QR code up on the screen and you can invite people to connect with you. Now, when you see me on your mobile phone, what you'll see is a big blue follow button. I do not recommend you press that. I recommend that you press the 3 dots, and that will enable you to personalize the invite, and you can say, nice to meet you at the AAT Tech Talk, and then I'll know where you've come from, and I will willingly accept your LinkedIn invitation to connect. And as I said, I encourage you to do that with everyone you meet from now on, personally or professionally. So to give you a tiny bit of background on me, my career started 11 days after my last Year 12 exam at Westpac in Adelaide. I worked in many different roles in the bank for 11 years, moved to Melbourne, got a job, found out I was pregnant, got sacked, and basically haven't had a real job since 1994. However, my first website did go online in 2001, newcomersnetwork.com, which is still running. And I've done a whole bunch of other things. I've joined all these associations. I've written 5 books, and I've done a huge amount of voluntary work, which has been fantastic. Today's presentation is voluntary. It took me about 3 hours, as I said, to put this gear together. So if you feel so inclined to say thank you afterwards, I would really appreciate that. And also, just for turning up, I give you access to my first 4 books for free. You do not need to create an account at ResearchGate.net, but you can go there and download those 4 books completely free of charge.
And so, the LinkedIn book, by the way, people, is invaluable.
Yeah, it's a very strategic document. So it doesn't matter that some of the things have changed on LinkedIn. It really goes through it. Attracting the right career business is very story driven. So if you like listening to stories, that's good. Marketing Your Business is case study driven, and Gigsters is about this whole concept of not having a regular income. So I know that a lot of bookkeepers have multiple clients, and it's a shorter book as well. And it really summarizes my experience of having this uncertain income stream. So there's lots of really, really practical tips, even things like money management, how I've managed to survive. When I left my husband after 19 years of marriage, I survived on an average annual taxable income of $26,000 a year for 5 years, from 2005 to 2010. So you tell me how many people can survive on that level income. I can. So yes, I manage my money quite well, and lots of just really practical tips. Not the barefoot investor, but lots of, sensible things anyway. So another thing that I really encourage you to do is get the benefit out of your AAT and IPA membership. So if you haven't already, I definitely encourage you to join the LinkedIn group that I presume Joe moderates, follow the Twitter account, the Facebook page, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I've written the numbers of current members and followers there last night, so that in theory we'll have another 29 people who've joined today, and those numbers will hopefully go up. So as soon as you get this document, click on those links and follow. Now you may
yeah, thank you for doing that. That's fantastic to have those links there. I actually do not moderate that group. I'm not sure who does, so I better find that out.
Yes, well, at least join the group too. And the other thing is, you might like to suggest that other Tech Talk presenters remind everybody to, subscribe and follow. Of course, you can also check me out on all the social media profiles as well. But for today's, purposes, I'm obviously just focusing on AAT and IPA. So if you are a brand new bookkeeper and you might be thinking, social media, I'm scared, I just like bookkeeping, I don't want to have a website, I just want to look after my 3 clients and that's it. Well, you can, and you can start for free by having a LinkedIn profile, because that will help you be found in Google search results, and a free Google website. So you just go to, if you've got a Gmail email address, you can go sign into your Gmail, go to business.google.com, fill in all the details. If you do not want your home address to appear on the internet, you say that you do not serve customers at your location, and that creates a Google profile. And then after you've created the Google profile, you can create a free Google website. So you can get started tomorrow, today, whenever you like, with your business, and you don't even need a website, and that will be enough to get you going. And if you think about the fact that you've already got 1 or 2 clients, maybe it's something you do part-time at the moment, this is a way for those people to refer you onto their friends and family and other people they know. And then when that person Googles you, you appear on Google search results. So there's no need to buy an expensive website. You can literally get started as a bookkeeper, accounting technician with just that. So I don't want you to think I'm trying to sell you any sort of fancy program and complicated process. But what does Google expect? Well, they expect ultimately you to have a website that you update every so often, and that everybody has a good experience when they land there, so they find what they need to know. They do expect you to be active on social media, which is, again, why I recommend LinkedIn. They expect you to have some online reviews. So again, if you've created that account, people will be able to write Google reviews about you. And they also expect you to have listings on websites like Yellow Pages, White Pages, True Local. They are all free listings and will help you be found in Google, and as well as links on other websites. So if you have a profile on the IPA or AAT website or any other website, maybe you're on a local council listing. Here in the city of Burundara, it's called lovelocallife.com.au, and I can get a free listing on there. So if you can list yourself on those other locations, that's also going to help you be found. So my kind of strategy for an online presence, and mind you, there's only one of me, there's not multiple me's, and I don't have staff, but I put content on my website, or I publish it on some other website like LinkedIn or Medium, or I get mentioned in some publicity piece or news item, whatever. Then I share that on social media. I also like other people's stuff, because everybody likes it when you like their stuff. So if you don't want to write your own content, you'll probably be just as successful in the online world if you like everybody else's stuff. I ask for reviews constantly, and I also respond to them. I also make sure my listings are up to date, and I try and get those links on other websites. So if people do quote me and if they can link back to my website, that helps. So that's it in a nutshell. That's all you need for your online presence. Now, in your local area in Australia, where you work or where you live, you are entitled to the services of the local council. Every council has an economic development unit, and they have lots of free, low-cost trainings for enterprises, and small or large. And I love going to local council events because they're never normally more than $20. The food's normally good, and I get to meet the same people on a regular basis, and then they get to know me for what I do. So that's terrific. The Australian government also has an amazing range of excellent resources. If you want to download templates and that kind of thing, it's a really good place. And also LinkedIn Learning. Now, I realize most of the courses are created by Americans, and as a typical Australian, I find that American accent a little bit aggravating at times. But if you have a local library card, then you can get access to all those LinkedIn Learning courses for free. So if you have some other interests, definitely recommend that you consider visiting your library, maybe for the first time in a long time, and checking out what you can get. So to describe this whole process visually, ultimately your website, if you choose to have one, is the only thing that you own. Anything else can disappear at any time. As we know with Facebook, there was a big hoo-ha over news organizations, and then Facebook blocked all the news organizations a while back. So, you know, social media can change at any time. And so the website is the thing. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, I've got to do everything on Instagram. But then what happens if Instagram's no longer popular? All your content's on Instagram, but nowhere else. So that's why I always recommend you publish on your website first, and then you share on social media. So then there's a full archive of all that brilliant work that you've shared with everybody else. Also, ask for those reviews because people will type in your name and the word reviews. And so they, you know, what comes up, you want to make sure that's good. Your listings and also those links. So that's just a nice visual representation. And there's some of the links where you can go to get those listings. By the way, when you get free listings on these, they'll sometimes ask you for a paid listing. You do not need a paid listing, just to let you know. Now, if you're worried about reviews, the strategy with reviews is to ask for reviews. So in the unlikely event that you get a bad review, you've already got 10 or 15 good reviews up online. But if you don't have any reviews and then you get a bad review, that can be disastrous for your business. So the goal is get reviews, have them there. I've asked hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students and friends and whatever clients to write me reviews, and I've got, I don't know, 100 and something, but that's over many, many years. But look, aim for 5 reviews. That's going to be good enough if you get a bad review. Now, if you are going to write Google reviews, you can sign up to something called Local Guides Connect, and you can earn points for every review. So a lot of people only write reviews when something bad happened. My coffee was cold and they charged me $8 for it. Well, yeah, that's not really a good review. What about if you went somewhere, it was fantastic service? Maybe you could write a review about that. Maybe you could review all your clients and take a photo outside their premises and say what you like about their business and how you've enjoyed working with them. And then you'll get points. And then when anybody Googles that business, guess whose review is going to pop up in Google search results? And I bet none of you have ever thought about being strategic about providing reviews. So I just wanted to mention it's a really great way to build rapport and relationships with your clients. I also have a page on my website, and I have a WordPress website. So I use something called a plugin called WP Customer Reviews, which allows people to add reviews to my website without having to sign in. It also means I can copy paste from emails nice comments I've received without saying, Joe, thanks for that review. Is it okay if I publish it? By the time I get through that process, I'll be bored and Joe will forget to respond or whatever, and it doesn't happen. So if I just say it was a student from my course or somebody who attended the tech talk, then I don't have to mention a name. but I can still put that review on my website. Now, interestingly, if somebody says Sue's Tech Talk was terrible, I can delete that review if I so chose, but it wouldn't bother me if I did. I would still publish it and I would respond accordingly. If there's something that you really want and I didn't include it, tell me now. But if you want to do it the other way, I'm still prepared to publish negative things. The only thing I do fix up before I publish it is spelling mistakes and double spaces, because, I'm a bit fussy about the way text appears online. So I like it to look neat and tidy, but I don't change someone's review. I always make sure it's exactly what they wrote. Now, for some of you, the concept of search engine optimization is that big scary thing that they hear you pay $500 a month for, and you supposedly get all these leads and you don't really know what it is, and it's a bit of a dark art, etc., etc. Well, I've just produced a video, how to be found on the first page of Google search results. And so it's 26 minutes. If you'd like to watch that, you're most welcome to do so. And in my view, your website should be created with search engine optimization as it's built, rather than something that you bolt on afterwards. So what I've done next is I've included some information for those of you who haven't got a website, as well as for those of you who have. So I'm not going to go through this in detail, but if you haven't got a website yet, here's what you need to do before you speak to a website designer. Here's what you should request in the quote and the design proposal. And the next one is, if you're thinking about upgrading or redesigning your website, please follow these instructions first. Sadly, I've heard too many people who've upgraded their website and it's turned out a disaster. So when I first started teaching at the Centre for Adult Education, I Googled Melbourne plumber, and this particular plumber came up in search results. Now, Joe, tell me, what should you do if you Google Melbourne plumber and you landed on this website? What does he want you to do?
He wants me to call now.
It's so easy. Like, there is no confusion about this message, right?
Yep.
Really, really clear.
Yep.
So if you're a bookkeeper and accounting technician, what do you want someone to do? Do you want them to ask for a quote? Do you want them to, do you want to give them a 15-minute free discussion? Like, what do you want them to do? It has to be absolutely clear. Now, this website has a picture, supposedly, of a Yarra plumber. It turns out it's a stock photo. His hands are too clean to be a plumber. He's got electrical pliers in the bathroom. His nails are too clean. I've examined this picture many, many times. But this website worked, and this website was found on page 1 of Google search results. It had all these nice icons across the top, a menu here, a menu there. And if you scroll down the page, there was all these keywords all over it. So it performed. You can pay by credit card, you can book online. If you don't want to speak to them, it's 24 hours a day. Like, before you've scrolled anywhere, you've got all the information you could possibly need about that Melbourne plumber. So it might not look sexy, but this website worked, and it also worked on a mobile phone. But then he upgraded it. Oh, there's some of his keywords. Then he upgraded it, and he ended up with this garbage. And like, plumbing is not even spelt with a G, because the screen wasn't designed to go different widths, and it's just a disgusting looking website. So, of course, he no longer appears on page 1 of Google search results. So any website you have, the number one goal of your website is to make people do what you want them to do. Now, as soon as you meet someone, they're not necessarily going to sign up for bookkeeping and accounting technician services for 3 years at a fixed rate. I mean, that's not likely to happen. But what do you actually want them to do to get started on that process? And if it is one of your clients who needs to visit your website to log in for something or another, then you need to make that process easy as well. But that's what your website is about, not all this fancy Nancy fonts and logos and colors and images and, that kind of thing. You've just got to really focus on what do you want people to do when they land on your website. Now, my website has a low bounce rate because people do click on my services button, and that's what I want them to do. I want them to see what I offer, and then they can self-select. Because if I appear too confusing to someone, that's great. They'll never call me because, I'm not the right fit for them. But if they do understand what I'm saying, then they will call me. So I'm quite happy when the wrong people don't call me. And that's the whole idea of content as well. Now, if you are in the process of buying a website, you're starting out from the get-go, you've got your free Google website, and now you've decided you want to buy a website. You can just create one in your own name. I often recommend that to people, unless you plan to build up a business and have 24 bookkeepers all working for you, etc. So when you buy your domain name, I also recommend that you purchase something called domain name privacy. So what this means is that you, as the owner of that website, are not listed on domain name registries, which means you avoid a lot of spam, right? It's only about $6 a year, so it's not an extra expensive cost, but it's something to be aware of. Now, I just go with .com because it's nice and simple. A lot of businesses in Australia will have .com.au, but you must have an ABN if you want that. And the latest one released in March is just .au. So I could be sueellson.au if I wanted to. So if you're brand new, you might want to try for that one. And then you need to decide how you're going to build your website. Now, there are platforms that sort of you just drag and drop and you pay a monthly fee. So they are things like Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, GoDaddy. I'm not a fan of them because you can't upgrade them into fabulous things in the future, and there's not a lot of things you're sort of stuck with whatever they offer. So that's why I've chosen WordPress. So I pay for website hosting through a company based in Richmond here in Melbourne, whose servers are very, very reliable, and you can ring them up and talk to them, and you can be very confused and they'll help you out, no problem. And that is a company called ddns.com.au. By the way, I'm not paid any money by them for this. I just love their work and I recommend them to all my clients. And you also need something called an SSL, Secure Socket Layer. It's just a certificate, which means that your website appears at HTTPS, which Google expects every website to be at HTTPS. So it means that it looks secure and people are confident visiting your website. So I recommend that you buy your domain name and your domain name privacy at one organization, and then you pay for your website hosting through another company. So that's why I purchased my domain name through crazydomains.com.au and the domain name privacy, and I purchased the website hosting through DDNS. That means that if DDNS is horrid, I can change over and go to another hosting company, and if Crazy Domains are hopeless, I can change and go to another company with them as well. Because I like to manage risk. As a former banker, I always want a way to get out of a situation rather than to be locked in and not able to move if something goes terribly, terribly wrong. So this is a way for me to manage my risk. So please, if anybody's got any questions, just pop them in the chat. If any of that doesn't make sense, I'm quite happy to go through it. And, you know, there's more details there. It tells you the theme that I use. And this is an example of a free Google website. And of course, my free LinkedIn profile, if you want to check those out. So what does Google expect? Well, as I said, website that's updated frequently, good experience, social media, online reviews, links, whatever. And to be found online, you want to be found for your name, because a lot of people know you as the person who's the bookkeeper, accounting technician. If you've got a business name, then you want to be found for that. You also want to be found for your keywords. So in my case, it would be Bookkeeper Canterbury, because it's much nicer if you can get a bookkeeper, accounting technician who lives close by, and then also have some reviews and some recent activity and a fairly wide reach. But the number one criteria is location. So you might say, but I can do bookkeeping for anybody anywhere in Australia. But I'm not going to appear in search results in Cairns when I'm in Melbourne, right? Because Google knows that the person's on their phone or on their internet and it's in Cairns. So it's going to try and produce Cairns search results. So I'm not saying you can't optimize for some other location, but you might as well start optimizing for your own location. And what you'll notice on Paul Smith, the piano tuner's website, is that we've listed suburbs that he's happy to visit, because as a piano tuner, he has to go to the piano can't come to him. So therefore, it's better if he doesn't have to travel miles and miles and miles to, you know, service a piano. And so that layout is something that you can work on. Searches are based on typed words, but also spoken. So Siri, where's the nearest bookkeeper? So you want to have the word nearest somewhere on your website. And statistics that you might want to track in your Google Analytics is how quickly your website loads. So hopefully that's less than 4 seconds. Your bounce rate, which means do they visit your website and do something, or do they go straight back to Google search results? So if that bounce rate is high, it means that nobody clicked on anything, right? So that Melbourne plumber, call the plumber, they didn't go back to search results. Perfect, that's excellent. So you want your bounce rate to be less than 55%. You want people to spend more than 2 minutes on your website, hopefully, unless they've called you and done whatever you want them to do. Hopefully they'll visit more than 2 pages of your website. And you also want people to find your website through a number of different channels, and then to check out your other listings. Now, many websites forget to mention that they've got a YouTube channel. So, put the links to all your profiles on your contact page. And remember that the title is the most important. So I've been working recently with an author, and his name is Richard A. Harris. But the problem is there's Richard Harris, the actor, there's Richard Harris, the film director, there's Richard Harris, the anaesthetist who helped those boys out of the Thailand cave, who's now written a book. And so Richard A. Harris is competing against all these other people. So I've suggested, he's also based in Sydney, and this other guy is based in Adelaide. So I've suggested that from now on, he call himself Dr. Richard Anthony Harris, and we're optimizing that name instead. And we've called his website Dr. Richard Anthony Harris. So if your name is a common name and you have an unusual middle name or a middle initial, like we did with Paul S.J. Smith, then that means people can find you because you're always listed as that same person. So just keep that in mind if you've got sort of a more common name. You can also check out what your competitors are doing. I was putting up an ad for another client for a pharmacist position. So I checked out all the other pharmacist ads today, and I incorporated little suggestions that I picked up from those other ads when I wrote this other job ad up. So you can always borrow ideas, no point reinventing the wheel. And you can remember, obviously, to update your listings if anything has changed, if you've already got listings that were automatically created. I'd also like to remind you that although today I'm talking about your online presence and social media, most businesses start off with word of mouth. Maybe you were the bookkeeper, then you left the business, but you still kept the bookkeeping job. Please remember that and keep that in mind, and keep those relationships going. On LinkedIn now, you can set a little bell next to a person's profile, so then you'll always see their updates. And if you keep engaging with their updates, that's going to say, oh, yeah, that's my bookkeeper. Yeah, they still remember me. Yeah, they're great bookkeeper. Oh, yeah, I should mention them to my friend Ian who needs a bookkeeper. And, so it's really good to be front of mind by maintaining relationships and remembering that word of mouth is still, as good as online is, you'll still get business from that. So if you are going to go on this journey, you've got to think about what are your goals, who are your buyers? Like, do you want to work for a large multinational and be part of a team of 20 bookkeepers? Possibly not. Do you want more than 3 clients so that if 2 clients disappear, you're not left with 1? You've got to think about these things and how are you most likely to reach them. Now, if your clients were all under 25, I'd say go on TikTok because believe it or not, people on TikTok are mostly young or at least under 30. And also they spend over 23 hours a month watching TikTok videos. So that's nearly an hour a day. My goodness. But if your clients are not on TikTok, or the people you like to work with are not on TikTok, then there's probably not a lot of point of being on TikTok. Now, if you don't know who the heck your clients are, whether they're older or younger or in particular industries or whatever, the simplest method to go about this is by saying, are they 10 years older or younger than me? Because those people will most relate to you. So that's sort of a blanket kind of a rule. I'm not saying that's the best. I've got much younger clients and much older clients, but if you don't know where to start, you can start with that one. And what do you want them to do and what's going to be best for your time, energy, and effort? There's a little template. So if you want to check out some social media statistics, Yellow Pages put out a social media report. Unfortunately, their last one was 2020, but it has some really great stats. And then you can watch out for social media trends. There's blogs you can subscribe to. This tells you the average number of monthly users by platform. So Facebook, believe it or not, still outstrips most of them. I mean, I know a lot more people are on Instagram, but or seem to be using Instagram more, but still the numbers still stack up for Facebook, ironically. But what I thought I'd do is just show you this quick video with Jimmy Reese about social media, just to sort of lighten the moment up a little and also give you a different insight into social media. I think there's a little bit of swearing somewhere in here, but hopefully you'll enjoy this.
Hello. I need to post a photo of my food. You're looking for Instagram, just down the hall. Hi. You need TikTok, just down the hall there. Hi. You're a bit old for that dance. Instagram Reels, that's what you're looking for. I'd like to repeat some news really fast. Really fast. Twitter. TikTok. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? YouTube. I've made a meme. Is it a good one? A really good one. All right, here's what you're going to do. You're going to head down the hall and go in the door that says Reddit. Yeah. And then someone's going to follow behind you, steal it off you, and then put it on every other platform. Thank you. Hi there. I would like to react to someone else's video because I have some commentary and people want to hear my commentary on someone else's video, okay? I would like me picture in picture commentating on someone else's video. Where do I go? Your commentary can be on YouTube. It's down there. I've got a reaction video as well. YouTube. Yeah, but I don't want to talk. I just want to like stand next to the person and just like, I just will like laugh along like they're right there. I'll be like, TikTok duets. I want to sell that. Have you taken some professional pictures? No, I took some on my phone. Well, are they clear? My Android phone. Not clear? Do you have a detailed description? No. Okay, you're looking for gum. Are you sure you want to sell it? Yeah, it's still available. I'll probably just give it to my brother and not respond to anyone. Facebook Marketplace. Hello. Facebook. Thank you. Instagram. TikTok. I lolled so hard at 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Right, so around 3 minutes you laughed. No, at precisely 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Okay. YouTube comments down there. I'm angry. How angry? Really angry. And how much do you have to say? Where do I start? Facebook comments. I'm a celebrity. Okay. People want to hear my opinion. Do they? Sorry. Why don't we start with Instagram stories? And then everything will be deleted after 24 hours, just down there. Journalists. Everywhere has video, Facebook, YouTube. No, all the video that I do is when I'm on TV in a professional environment. I just want to write things. Okay, you're looking for Twitter then. Journalist McJournalist. Journalist news. I use a fake name and leave nasty comments. That's not very nice. I don't like your face. Excuse me? You are not. Look, I know what you're trying to do and I'm not buying it, okay? I'm not going to be hooked in to you. Honey! What did you say? Where do I go, hack? Straight down the hall, the door at the end. Loser. Hack. That guy was nasty, hey, buy this. He was, wasn't he? What's through the door down the end? Hell, I'm an ad. Buy this. Shouldn't have told you about the door down the end. We don't serve. Sorry, I can't help you. No, sir, we don't take bribes. Wow, that is a lot of money. Here's the keys. I'm looking for Snapchat. 2015's down the hall. Thanks.
Kind of fun. I really enjoy that video, and I think it's a really good summary of the different types of people who are on social media, and hopefully you got a bit of a laugh. This one is also really interesting because it talks about how you start off doing one thing on social media, it likes you, and then you try and do something else, and you keep having to change all the time. So that's another fun one. There's a bit of swearing, but it makes it sort of aligned with the whole story of dating and the challenges of being in a relationship with Facebook. And yeah, that's quite a funny one as well. Lots of other stuff there. So the number one tip that all of my clients have told me has been helpful to them is to create a usernames and passwords list. Now, you may say, oh, but I've got a book and I write all my passwords in my book. What happens if you lose your book? And what happens if you die and nobody knows where to find the book? And, all these other things. So I use a password protected Excel spreadsheet. I printed it up. I put it with my will because when I die, boy, there are a lot of accounts that need to be closed on my behalf. So this is really good practice. Also, if you end up doing any other stuff for your clients, then you can create little spreadsheets for them, for the logins you need for them. As I said, when you save the spreadsheet, you can put a password protection on it. And the reason I use this rather than those password programs is because what happens if the password program fails? And then, you know, they say it's encrypted, but is it? Who hacks or who monitors the password companies? So I just prefer this. What it also means is that if ever somebody I need to give details to them, I can easily find those login details. And then as soon as our relationship is finished, I can change the password again. And I keep it on a little USB stick in my handbag as well. If I'm out and about and I need access to it and I can't sign into some sort of computer, I can still, you know, access it that way as well. You want a clear description of your purpose and who you want to reach. Consider what options you've got available. As I've said, you only need Google My Business and LinkedIn to start with. All the rest are optional. You start by creating good quality and consistent website with your social media profiles. Decide on what your policies are going to be. So the good news, folks, is I do not recommend posting on social media 6 times a day. Like that is, I went to a webinar, I go to between 1 and 4 events every week, and somebody told me I should be tweeting 6 times a day. I don't even look at Twitter 6 times a day. So I don't recommend that. And if you can only do something once a month, that's fine. Ideally, it's once a week, but you know, it doesn't have to be 6 times a day, I'm telling you now. And decide who gets access to your social media profiles. You don't want someone going rogue on one of your profiles. Record and analyze the results. Like, are you actually getting results? You might have hundreds of likes, but no clients. Like, what's the point of that? So think about why you're doing the social media and discuss changes or improvements and implement revisions. So you start off with good quality real estate, whichever platforms you choose. You connect with everyone, not just your customers, but your staff, suppliers, stakeholders, alliance partners, local community connect members, people you meet at networking events, other members of AAT or IPA, whoever. You connect with all of these people on your socials. You put out good content on a consistent basis. It doesn't need to be perfect. You respond whenever somebody makes a comment, not whenever someone likes something, or reviews. You always respond to reviews. And then obviously you are allowed to ask, can I help you with your bookkeeping? That's perfectly fine. And make sure that there is an easy sales process and then review it. Some of you may say, look, my social media is a dog's breakfast at the moment, and it's time for me to do an audit of my social media. Here are some templates you can use, but here's a very basic one that I've just created there that you can use that in a spreadsheet as well. You need to think about when you choose a platform, will it reach your audience? Will it give you value today as well as in the future? That's why I love LinkedIn articles, because they stay online forever. Is it relevant to your audience? Are you just going for vanity, or are you getting results? Do you have a cost per lead, your level of expertise? You know, are you ready for the future when everything's under subscriptions and no ads are available? And by the way, I don't pay for any ads on any platforms to get all the work I need. So just saying that up front, I don't believe paying for ads is the best way to get new business if you're a small business. And yeah, just think about it. Although I will say that videos perform particularly well. So I'm not a huge fan of putting my face on camera, even though I'm running this event, of course, and this will be recorded, but turning up in people's news feeds, you know, today I'm talking about blah, blah, blah. It's not kind of my thing. But I can assure you that when my books first came out and I put up a video once a week, it was just a screen recording. Every week I did that, I sold books. So I can say that video content works particularly well nowadays. Please don't go chasing some sort of silver bullet that's going to solve every problem. Just turning up and doing something once a week is enough. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by any of this. There's lots of information here, but it's only to help you make the decisions you need to make to work out what's going to work for you. Now, whether something goes viral or not depends on these sorts of things. Do people stop scrolling and look at the picture of that fluffy cat? Of course they do, because if they like cats, they're going to look at that fluffy cat. Has that got anything to do with bookkeeping? Possibly not. So try and make it engaging. They're the sorts of things that will make sure that, you know, your content is well regarded. Now, where do people start on this social media journey? Well, when they first come across you, they're an acquaintance, visitor, lurker. It could be a competitor down the road or a stalker, you know, some relative who's always checking up on you. So, you know, there's those people around. We don't worry about them. Then over time, they become friends, followers, or subscribers. They might become a customer, client, or well-informed person. They then might start engaging with the stuff that you do. I've got a few little fans who like most of my posts. Then they might become an advocate. And they might say, oh, yeah, this person's really great. And they start sharing referrals. And then at some point, they might say, look, you are the best bookkeeper who's ever lived. And then wherever they go, they're spruiking your services. So this is the sort of trajectory that people go on social media. Please remember that up to 70% of people are visual learners. So you want to make sure any content you put out has that visual appeal. And Canva is an Australian platform. You can do the free version, and it's got lots of templates for social media posts if you want to use that. You can even post directly from Canva. I've actually found it so beneficial. I've paid for the paid version because I am not a graphic designer, and it makes my content look somewhat professional rather than what I do. And real-time amplification is a thing too. So if there's some story in the news like the budget and what that means for your bookkeeping, you know, that's a time to put out content, real-time amplification. So here are your options. If you only want to spend 20 minutes a week, that's what you do. If you want to spend an hour a week, you do that as well. And then if you want to spend 2 or more hours, you go to the next level. So that just gives you some tips. Now, what I've done, now this is purely the Sue Ellson version of social media. I've got something in the chat there. Can you use Canva for your website? No, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? I use the WP Astra WordPress theme, which is a layout. And I have purchased Elementor, which is a page builder. And what that does, they've got some templates that have already been made up. And Fiona, I really recommend that your first website be a template one, a really simple one. You can change the colors and the text and the pictures and whatever, but if it's 80% good enough, that's fine. So you don't have to have, you know, A1 website on the first edition, because over time, let me assure you, you will change your mind and you will have other things you want to do. So look at WP Astra and look at some of the starter templates and start with one of those. And you're currently attempting to do that. Well done, Fiona. I also teach a course, Create a Simple WordPress Website at the CAE. I'm not sure when the next one is, but sometimes it's quicker just to get onto it. But yeah, good on you. But Canva can definitely give you some ideas of, you know, things you might want to include. Yeah, and read those articles about what should be in the design process. What sort of pictures would be suitable for a bookkeeper's website? What a fantastic question, Debbie. Pictures of you that are not anywhere else, because Google likes to see new images. Now, I know you might feel uncomfortable, but I don't know, get your friend, the photographer, to come over and take pictures of you from behind if you don't want your face in it. But you at work and doing things or signed in without obviously commercial details being shown on the screen. But the more original images you can use that Google has not seen before, the more Google will love your website. And you can also load them up on your business.google.com profile as well. So hire a photographer, get them to do lots of headshots for you, vertical, you know, portrait style, landscape style, at work, doing work, at the keyboard, you know, any number of things, what a bookkeeper does, so that the visual story can be told. Okay, so back to social media. Now, this is the Sue Ellson version of deciding which social media platform I should be on. Does it have a decent database size? Like, sure, I could be on TikTok, and yes, there's a lot of people on TikTok, but does it access my audience who are mostly over 30? Actually, not so much. So it's not ideally the best platform for me for now. Will it build lifetime value? Like, will people still watch my TikTok video in 5 years' time? Probably not. Will it keep people up to date with what I'm doing now? Absolutely. If I put a new video out, that will help. Will it help me be found in search results? Not sure about that with TikTok. Will it be good value in terms of the spend that I make, and will I get a return on my investment? Just because I'm some, funny person bookkeeper, will I get loads of clients out of that? Or will people just like it and think it's funny? Like, it's, will it lead to actual business? Is it measurable? Is it scalable? And are there likely to be algorithm changes? So a couple of years ago, everybody was making loads of money out of Facebook. And then they changed the algorithm overnight, and they decided that in your news feed, you should see more stuff from your friends, not from Facebook pages you liked. So overnight, all those people who were relying on Facebook to bring them business found out they were no longer getting business that way. And it can change at a moment's notice. So that's why as I said before, I'm an ex-banker. I am risk averse. So I have gone through with each of the platforms, and I've given my little rating out of 5 for each of those focus areas. And what I've provided here for you are some tips for LinkedIn, and I've given you some links to some profiles that are good. As I said, this is a 6-hour course, so we're not obviously going through all these now, but I will ask questions about each one. Facebook, really high risk associated with algorithm changes, but there's some good examples in there. Vic Roads, I absolutely love what they do on their Facebook page. It is brilliant. Lots of really good ideas you can borrow from what Vic Roads does. Twitter, if you send out 3 tweets a week, you will get search results. So Twitter can be actually very powerful. You might think, well, there's no point, but yeah, if you want to be found when people Google your name and you put out 3 tweets a week, you definitely will. And there's some good examples. And Instagram, again, some good examples. And then Google My Business and YouTube. So I always recommend that you put your videos on YouTube, because Google owns YouTube. And if you label your videos really well, they can appear in search results. If you Google me, you'll see my YouTube videos come up in search results. And if you Google certain titles of my videos, then they come up in search results. And I've also put those videos not just on YouTube, but I've put them on my website. So that has also worked really, really well. And there's some more tips on that. So then I thought, lots of people don't know what on earth to put on social media. So here are some ways to get started. So your first step is always to engage with everybody else's stuff and like their stuff, or your clients, like them, connect with them, all that. Then you can curate. So you might find something from AAT or IPA that you'd like to share. Doesn't matter that they've shared it previously, you can share it with your network. And then the third step is you produce your own. So these are all the sorts of things that you could produce yourself. If you get really serious, you can come up with a content calendar. So what is the steps for going forward? Well, please, if you haven't already, create a LinkedIn profile and make sure you connect with everyone you meet from now on, and your Google My Business profile. Connect with all of your past, current, and future clients on LinkedIn if they have one, and ask for followers and subscribers to your social media. Update your website if you have one at least once a month. Engage with social media 3 times a week. I call that being a personal encourager. Share something on social media once a week that you've either curated or created. Consider putting posts on social media that you've shared. Put that into an email newsletter that you share out once a month. So I write poems, I write articles, I do videos. So what I do is each month I put the links to all of them in an email newsletter and I send it out. And I also send it out as a LinkedIn newsletter as well. And I've got subscribers to that. So I'm reusing what I've already shared throughout the month, which is again a good reason to put it on your website first. Respond to any messages, comments, or contact as soon as you can. Respond to all online reviews. If they are nasty reviews, wait 24 hours after you've cooled down and then respond politely. Check your statistics and review what you're doing and stick to what you can realistically manage. So I would love you to put into the chat something that you've learned from this workshop that you would like to implement, because that's really, really good for other people to sort of refresh their minds. And also think about what might be most helpful to you. So either one of those, please add those in. Also think about what you're going to do within the next 3 days, because studies have shown that if you don't do something within 3 days of this webinar, you're going to do nothing. You've just spent an hour and that's it. So I definitely recommend for you to think about something that you would do in the next 3 days or 2 weeks. Don't forget, you can download my books. There's heaps more information on my website. I'm running a LinkedIn free webinar at 12 p.m. I think it's the 11th of May on LinkedIn for early career professionals, but there's heaps more on my website that you can check out. If you would like to write a Google review to thank me for my time, you're welcome to do that via that link. And if you would like to say thank you to the Association of Accounting Technicians, you can write them a review by clicking on that link. And if you've got any quick questions that you don't feel comfortable asking publicly, you can definitely email me those. So Fiona is going to set up password Excel list. Oh my goodness, Fiona, gold star to you. That is, as I said, all my clients tell me that is the best thing that they've ever done. So I'm really glad to hear that, Fiona. I thought it was interesting that currently 70% of people are visual learners. Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? And I think because of phones and iPads and computers, more of us have to be visual learners than we would like to be. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I can't watch another YouTube video, but I can listen to it. And I can get quite a lot of value just out of audio learning, not just visual learning. And it doesn't wear me out as much. So, understand that for some people, it's good to have it in video because they can just listen if they don't want to watch, or if they want to watch, they can. So that can be really helpful. Melissa's saying, thinking about photography of the business. Great. And, ask around who knows a good photographer and get a referral in and then promote their work. That can be really good.
Find one in the local council network. That's what I did. And it only cost me a few $100s and I got all the photos for my website.
Yeah, it's so worthwhile, and you can reuse them. And every time you get asked for a media story, you've got an image you can give them, and it's in the high resolution format. It's just so worth it. Yep. Your photos can last at least 5 years. So it's worth making that investment and getting them there. I learned that I don't have to be on every platform. Quite a relief. I'll begin to start working LinkedIn regularly. Oh, that's music to my ears as well, because, oh my goodness, like social media, everybody says, oh, you got to be on it. You got to do this. You got to pay for ads. You got to blah, blah, blah. Well, no, you don't. I'm telling you, you absolutely do not. Update and improve LinkedIn. Great, Jean-Jacques. Remember that presentation is in the handout. Know what to ask when I talk to a person about updating my website. Debbie, yes, so many people are bamboozled by web designers. And so read those articles, because if you can provide the content, your website can be built fast. But if you don't have the content, how can they build the website? So stalk me as much as you want on social media or my website. See what I've got on different pages of my website. You're welcome to replicate anything. Attend the next local council development event. Excellent, Joanna. It is so good to meet people who live locally. Like in Melbourne, the traffic is horrendous. And if you've got to drive for half an hour, you won't bother catching up. But if you keep going to the local council events, a lot of us work on our own and it can be extremely isolating. But if you go to those events on a regular basis, you will not feel so isolated. And you will start to see familiar faces. You might see a few people you don't want to see, but most of the time they're really good.
It is how Sue and I met years ago at the Burundara business networking group.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really worthwhile. I'm meeting with a web developer this afternoon, so I have the right information to ask. Thank you, Kathy. That's synchronicity for you, isn't it? Fabulous. I've had this spreadsheet for about 10 years now, but will password protect. Thanks for the info password protect. Yeah. So when you go to save file, there's a little thing called tools on the Excel spreadsheet. And then you can, but please, for goodness sake, make sure you remember that password, because, it's no good if you forget it. When you print it up, put the file name on the file so that when your executor comes through, your digital executor goes through to close off all your accounts, they can open that password file as well.
I would just throw in there, we do have a higher requirement for security. I think, you know, the password managers are what we recommend in our industry. If you are starting out, I think the spreadsheet is okay, but you must password protect it. You must save it properly so it can't be hacked. So yeah, just to take care of that. But, you know, I've got hundreds of passwords and a lot of them are linked to client accounts. So for me, a spreadsheet is now, you know,
too much.
it's
Not enough.
That's it. So I now have a password manager and I can tag clients and, you know, sort it out in groups, and it's fantastic. But anyone who's a regular here will have heard me talk about password managers many times because it is essential in our world to take care of password protection on behalf of our clients as well as our own systems. So, okay, we are nearly at 1:30 for anyone who has to go on the dot. People, we will be recording it. It goes up on the website within the week. And as Sue mentioned at the start, she will send me the Word document and then I will send that out. So there's so much in that Word document, Sue. It's incredibly generous and there's so much value in that. So guys, you're getting this for free as, you know, a member benefit. And I would really recommend work your way through it over the next month. Put it as your homework and you've just got so much value right there. So
you may also like to partner up with somebody else that you know, and then the two of you get through that task, you know, go to a coffee shop and work on it together. I mean, you know, have your passwords handy. And and thank you for that comment about saying it's been helpful. That's also much appreciated from you as well. Hopefully you can use the information. That as an educator, that's what I want to see happen. I want to see you use it and get value out of it. And I went for a walk with my daughter this morning, and many years ago, my ex-husband and I were involved in the local football club, and it was under 16s and under 17s. And what I used to do was I used to take photos of the kids playing football, and then I would print them all out, and then I would put photos of each kid into their own photo album. And this was back in, before 94, before I left Adelaide. And my daughter told me this morning that somebody had still kept those photo albums. How cool is that from 1990 something? And, you know, if this is useful, you're welcome to share it with your clients, with your friends, with anybody. It's all out there. And I don't worry about copyright because I'm always updating everything. Everything I do for every presentation is always a new one. So feel free to share and make the use out of it.
Brilliant. Well, thanks again, Sue, for coming to AAT and our members. And there's lots of great feedback there. So we'll be in touch with the Word document, and there was so much in there. You're probably going to need to listen to the recording, even if you were here today. So, okay. Thanks, everybody, and see you next month. And thanks again, Sue.
Thanks, Jo. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.